Dr. Mark Rutland is president of Oral Roberts University. He's also the founder and president of Global Servants, a missions ministry that runs the House of Grace home in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Since 1988, the House of Grace has served as a refuge for tribal girls at risk of being sold into the sex trade. Currently, it houses more than 100 girls. So why are the tribal girls so vulnerable in the sex trade?
Well, the oppressed minority in any country is always vulnerable to every kind of exploitation. And the epicenter of the Southeast Asian sex trade problem, especially child sex trade, is Thailand. There are more than 1 million prostitutes in Southeast Asia under the age of 15. They're easy prey, their families are impoverished, their women are not highly thought of in the tribal cultures. They're all tribal girls from the northern mountains of Thailand.
Wow. How does the House of Grace find and rescue these potential victims?
Yeah, that's a good question. We have what we call an at-risk portrait, and our teams go up into the villages. All of our workers are tribals themselves. The woman who runs House of Grace now in Thailand was the first girl we took in. They send teams into the villages. We make a strictly economic argument. Give us the girl, and we will make her earn more money over a longer period of time, and she won't get sick like she would in the brothels. We tell the girls, any school you can get into in Thailand, we'll pay the tuition. We've sent 3 through law school. We've got one young lady, a wonderful young woman. She works at an international law firm in Bangkok. She practices international law, and she has a dream of being the first woman tribal judge in Thai history.
Wow, such amazing success stories. Talk about the life of these girls inside the house. What's an average day like for them that's producing such great success?
Every morning they have their breakfast, then they bust them out to all kinds of these different schools. Some go to a trade school, some go to high schools. The little girls line up. It looks like a children's story. They all line up with their little backpacks on, and we march them up to the elementary school there. We have chapels. Some go to local churches, then the next week the next group goes, and the others have chapel on campus. So we're really trying to educate them way beyond anything they could have had otherwise.
Are they involved in ministry activity?
Yes, they do ministry back in their own villages. I believe that the power of the gospel for transformation begins the day they walk on the campus. Not one of them is a Christian when they come to us, and all of them are Christians when they leave, because the girls evangelize each other. When a little girl is valued at the price of a television set, you can buy a little girl in those villages for $400. We teach them their eternal value.
The global sex trade is so big, so many being enslaved. What is the biggest factor in fighting this industry? Is it economic? What is it?
Yeah, it is economic, to be sure, especially in the tribal areas. The drugs are a big issue. Demand in the West. If there was no demand, there'd be no product. And it's a terrible issue of people who actually travel to Southeast Asia, not just Thailand, but Vietnam, Cambodia, the Philippines, for underage sex. Ignorance and poverty are issues. And the lack of understanding of the value of children and women.
What would you say to those who want to join the fight against this? How do they do it?
Well, I wish they would get involved, of course, with Global Servants. They can go to globalservants.org and look us up and look up House of Grace. I would say educate yourself, first of all. Understand what's going on. It has come to light. We've been doing this for 27 years, but more and more it's coming to light. More people are aware of the problem. The second is get involved in those organizations that are doing both interdiction and prevention. The third is put pressure on the federal government that they prosecute and do what they ought to do. It's a very important issue.
Indeed it is. Mark Rutland, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Blessings.
You.